Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Restaurant Royalty Catering with the Queen. I am so happy you decided to join us today. And if you can see me, hello to you. If you can hear me, hello to you as well. We're going to jump into it. All right, so on today's agenda, we're going to do a quick intro. We'll do a July recap and talk a little bit about what we discussed last month. We will jump into the program today, which is going to be about creating a marketing calendar and tagging media both inside the four walls and in your windows. And then we'll talk about some upcoming events. So I'll be out and about around the country, and I want you to know where I am. So if you are the same place, you can stop by and say hello. All right. So a quick intro here. My name again is Jen Saunders Haynes. I am the founder and chief catering strategist at Elizabeth Jewell Consulting. And who is Elizabeth Jewell? So Elizabeth Jewell is named after my mother and my grandmother who taught me all about cooking. So the name is my way of paying homage to them. And what we do here is, we're a full service catering consultancy. So anything you need from program evaluation to fractional leadership, give us a call and we'll be sure to help you out. And we'll talk more about how to get in touch with me at the end of the presentation today. Some experience that I have been privileged to be able to work with some amazing partners. Spent some time at Subway, 4.5 years there, 4.5 years at Go-To Foods, formerly Focus Brands, and also partnered with some great other places like Catering, just hosting this webinar, as well as Food on Demand, Easy Cater with our Catering Growth Forum, Fast Casual, and some other brands in between. All right, what did we talk about in July? So we spent some time talking about football season. Football season is underway, and it is going to be especially exciting this season, seeing as though a special someone got engaged. So we will leave it as that. I should have made this presentation orange to celebrate. But anyway, we talked about the target audience. We talked about some catering messaging and how you could go about marketing football. We also talked about packaging as a marketing tool. So we talked about how to brand your packaging, how to get packaging that is either low or mid cost, understanding that not everybody can do fully branded packaging right now, but perhaps there's an opportunity to do some things that could bring in some low or mid cost options for you. And if you missed it and you want to go back and listen to it, you can scan the QR code on the screen, or you can go and find the Cater linked YouTube channel. Make sure you like and subscribe. Just click on playlist and look for the restaurant loyalty playlist. You'll be able to watch all the past videos, and then this one will be uploaded there very soon after. Also, while you're there, check out the videos from my friends and colleagues in the States. There's some really good things there, and it is all at no cost to you. So feel free to check it out and drop me a line. Let me know what you think and give me some feedback. All right, let's get into the catering marketing calendar. So, catering should not live alone. Catering is part of your overall program. It should not be an afterthought. So when you're creating your catering messaging and your marketing, it should align with your catering promotions, with the brand's broader marketing calendar. And so when you're creating, it's really important that you understand what the brand messaging is for that month, that week, that window, that quarter, whatever it is, and you create accordingly. So the overarching message may be something different than the actual catering message, because catering has its own tentpole moments, but you don't want to create something in a silo so that it feels disconnected or disjointed from the overall brand message. So align your catering promotions with whatever's going on with the overarching brand message. The second point here, separate your B2C and B2B strategies and with clear priorities. And what that means really is that, there are going to be times when you're targeting both audiences at the same time. Sometimes they're the same guest and sometimes they're not. So if you're sending a B2B or a B2C message, understand your strategy there. Understand that your call to action may look different. The words you use may be different. We talked about in a previous webinar how, you might use the word catering with a B2B audience, but maybe B2C doesn't understand catering because it sounds super fancy. So maybe you use group ordering or large parties, or you speak in terms that they understand. And then the priority part, if you have competing messages for a particular holiday, make sure you prioritize. what should go first, second, and third. And then moving on to highlighting key seasonal, holiday, and local event opportunities. Catering has its own holidays. There are some days of the year that are very special for catering that may not be as big for in-restaurant business. Same for holiday seasons. Black Friday is big, may be slower for in-restaurant unless you are close to a strip mall or mall and you're getting tons of traffic. But, it's big for catering, right? And so you want to message that appropriately. Next, sync your messaging across channels for consistent guest experiences. If you have a message on your landing page when you go to your .com, you want to make sure that message carries over through everything else. You don't want to have a bunch of different messages. If I go to your app, it says one thing, but your website's something else. And then I got an email that just feels like it came from someplace else completely. You want to make sure that whatever your messaging is, it flows through all of your channels, right? And make sure you sync those messages so that they make sense to the guest and it feels like a whole story. The last point here, involving your cross-functional teams. This is important because, I say all the time that catering is a business within a business. And it really is. It operates across the aisle in most cases. So I'll give you a working example. If you are rolling something out and it has a promotion and you need imagery and there's some training involved because there's an LTO, right? We'll just leave it at that. So you would need to talk to your tech team to make sure the promo is set up right at the POS and on the digital channels, if that's what you're using. If you need imagery or photography or creative, you have to work with the marketing team to make sure they understand your needs and assets and that they're incorporating whatever you're working on with whatever they are working on, because you want to ladder it up to the overall message. So you want to make sure it makes sense for them. And if you are catering an LTO in this situation, you want to make sure you're working closely with the operations team to be sure that you're not adding any operational complexity to what the store's already doing. So we're not even getting into the supply chain of it and all of that. So those are just 3 different departments that you'll need to work closely with to align on one promotion. That's just for a small promotion. So I say that to say, if you're working on something bigger, or if you're working on a strategy for the overall program, partnering cross-functionally is going to be super important, and making sure all the parts of the business understand and align with what you're working on. So I'll leave that there. And then we'll go on to the next one. And this is an example of a marketing calendar. You don't have to use this. This is just an example. I wanted to give you a visual of how this could look. So we talked about overarching messages. So if I write a brand and my overarching messages for September were back to school, football, and we have an LTO, right? So we have those laid out here by week, and some of the weeks overlap, as you can see. So we have that here. And then we are talking about B2B and B2C. So we have those separated on the calendar by color. And then we have different kinds of marketing. So we have email, text, social, and in restaurant. What I've done here is laid out what is happening on each day. And then if you listen to previous webinars or you listen to my podcast that we'll talk about later in the presentation here, you know that certain days work better for B2B, certain days work better for B2C, certain days work better to get higher click-through and open rates for email. That works the same with social and text messaging. So understanding all of that will help you create your calendar. And so when you go and talk to your marketing teams or your CRM teams, you can sit down and have a conversation and say, okay, these are my priorities. These are the audiences I want to capture. And this is the method in which I want to capture them. So I have on Tuesday, you'll see an email on the calendar going out to B2C and B2B. There's another email going out on B2C on Friday, which is a better day for B2C because of the parties they may plan on the weekend. You'll see that there's in-restaurant messaging happening all throughout that week. And then if we go to the next week, switching up from Tuesday to Wednesday, there's a B2B email going out on Wednesday, another B2C email going out on Tuesday. I'll skip ahead a little bit to the next week because we have social and text coming up here. So there's some social channels happening with LTOs and footballs, understanding that there's probably going to be some overarching messaging for LTOs happening on social channels for the brand. So you want to tag along with that, right? And so we know that for B2B, social is great on Wednesdays, and for B2C, social is great on Thursdays in many cases. And so we want to pop those social messages in where they would make the most sense, understanding that there's going to be social activity happening for the LTO that the brand is working on. And then later in the week, you see text pop up. Text messages come in handy on Saturday for last minute B2C orders. And again, on Fridays are paydays. People plan for Friday night. So you can kind of get a sense of how that can be laid out. So as you're working on your own calendars for your catering opportunities, you can use this as kind of a conversation starter and figure out where you can go from there that works best for your brand. All right, moving on to catering awareness. So, I have some pretty pictures in here, but they're not popping up. So if you're looking at the screen, there are pictures here. I don't know where they are. I'm so sorry. I'll make sure that they are in the upload of this so you can have them. But we have some pretty pictures here, some restaurants that have done catering really well. So Chick-fil-A has a window cling that says catering. Jersey Mike's and Jimmy John's have turned their in-restaurant displays. One has them on a table. The other one has it kind of on their pickup rack. So we have those pictures in here, but the overarching messaging here is to put catering everywhere guests look. So whether it is on a digital menu board, I think the picture here was Chipotle with it on a menu board. Anywhere they look, you want to make sure they see catering so they understand it is who you are and it is available to them. You also want to catch guests in the moment. So as they're waiting in line, if they can look up and see a menu, if they can scan a QR code and start thinking about what they want to order, that's an opportunity to grab their attention when they're already in your store. And then lastly, connecting catering to everyday events. So what you want to do is speak to them in the language they understand, like we mentioned before. You want to show your guests that, hey, you're already here a couple times a week for lunch or for dinner. You already love us, you're a loyal guest. We can provide this food to your party and a catering experience or a group dining experience or for your birthday party or whatever else. So connecting a regular catering event to an everyday guest is going to be important here. Again, sorry about the photos. I'm not sure what happened there. And the next slide here, you don't have space. That's okay. We can find space. So a lot of times restaurant footprints are small. They don't always work. You don't always have window space. If you're in a strip mall, you only have your front windows. You don't have side windows. You already have things going on for the brand that may be occupying space in your windows. You may not be able to hang things on the wall. You don't have wall space. Those things happen. And so the important part here, though, is because you've made catering part of your overall messaging, it's part of your brand story, it's part of your brand culture, it's easy to put catering into an existing asset. So you can plug catering into anything, right? And so here we have a catering menu for Jimmy John's, and it's a regular menu. It's an in-store menu, and you'll see in the bottom left-hand corner, they have a catering made easy call out, which is their tagline, right? And so what that means is, yeah, you can get whatever you want in restaurant, and by the way, we cater. So everything that you do should be a, by the way, we cater. And did you know we cater, right? And so that way it becomes awareness, firstly. And then second of all, people start to understand that your brand also means catering. It also means group ordering. It also means that I can order from them for my next party. So the more times you can get that in the messaging, the better. Again, it doesn't have to be standalone. I know budgets are tight, window space is limited, but if you're already creating something or your brand is already creating something, just pop a little catering message on it. That could be on napkins, it could be on cups, whatever it is. You could just pop a little, we cater, just like think about that as kind of like the we deliver message, right? We cater and deliver. So a little call out there. All right. So that was the meat of the conversation. I do want to talk about some upcoming events because, as I mentioned, I will be out and about around the country. So September 2nd through 4th, I will be at QSR Evolution in Atlanta. And then I will be doing an online session with Kelly from Crumbs and Jim talking about everything from about the catering industry. You'll have some good nuggets from there. That is a virtual panel. And then I will also be at the Restaurant Catering Workshop in Texas in October. There was a new podcast that was just released today, Restaurant Catering Smarts, that I did with Michael from CaterZen. And then I am hosting a holiday catering masterclass on September 17th. There is an early bird registration going on right now. So if you would like to get on the early bird, you can visit my website and link it there. So that you can get on the early bird special. We'll be talking about all things holiday catering, how to set up, what to do. And yes, you should be starting in September. So we're doing the webinar in September so that you have time to prepare in October, because by the end of October, you should already be ready, promoting, and have some orders locked in for Black Friday. And if you haven't heard, I have a new podcast called The Queen's Playbook. Take a minute, listen to it. All of the episodes are 5 minutes or less. I kept them that way so that you can listen to them on your drive to the office or to the restaurant, while you're prepping, while you're baking bread, baking cookies, or whatever else you do in the morning to prep. So you can check them out there. There are 6 episodes ready and waiting for you. Everything from football season to creating a playbook, when to send emails that we talked about a little bit in this presentation, tagging media. There's even a special episode 5, about getting to know me. I want to make sure you guys know me just as much as I want to know you. So a little bit about me, my life, on episode 5, and then episode 6 is a little bit about local marketing, which is super important to your catering business. You can find that podcast anywhere you listen to podcasts today, or you can visit thequeensplaybook.com. It'll take you right to it. And that's it for me today. So let's connect. You can find me, scan the QR codes on the screen. You can connect with us on the web, on LinkedIn, or on Instagram at The Catering Queen. You can email directly at jen@ejewelconsulting, and I will be happy to help out with whatever you need. And I promise I will get those pictures uploaded to the presentation properly so you can find them. Thanks for joining today. It's been a pleasure, and I hope to see you at the Holiday Masterclass on September 17th. Take care. Bye-bye.